Okay, so I'm behind the camera recording this because I just want to share this. So I had did a post a couple of days ago. One of my assignments was to create an implementation plan along with a contingency plan addressing a presumed or factual existing organizational ethical dilemma. So I just kind of wanted to share because I'm really excited about this grade because I second guess myself a lot. I'm my hardest critic. And I was up for long hours for almost a week working on this. I kept changing things. So this was the step-by-step rationale of the plan in which I chose to design. We had to kind of be creative with it. So I choose to use and you'll see it right here, I chose to use the patient-centered leadership model. So again, this was the step-by-step implementation plan in which I did. And of course, I kind of summed it up with the different researched resources I use. I try to use a very diverse form of studies to validate my opinion or perspective. And then you'll notice as I scroll down, I also did the contingency plan. A contingency plan, for those who are unfamiliar with that term or not sure what it means, is pretty much when you do a corrective action plan, you always want to have something in place in case that plan doesn't necessarily work out the way you anticipated or hoped it to work out for desired outcome. So this was the contingency plan. I had to assume that the original plan implemented was ineffective or came with a lot of negative backlashes of it. So this was it. And these were the key areas that I focused on: potential risk and harm, possible decline of professional morale, increase in employee turnaround or turnover, possible legalities experienced by the organization as a result of the ethical dilemma or unethical dilemma, and decline in patient retention. A lot of times when you're addressing certain dilemmas, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is the problem within the professionalism, but sometimes those in which we serve, they don't always necessarily like the services or interventions recommended to assist them. And again, we go down and you can see how I tweaked my identified problem as well as the objective purpose of step-by-step rationale right here. So I did 3 columns. I tried to hit the problem right at a first glance without making my professor read too much. Not that he has a problem reading a lot, because Dr. Cashman, I've had a couple of classes with him, and he's a really good professor. So also we had to address any, if at all, resistance experienced by either plan, implemented or suggested from a consultant member committee perspective. So you'll see I just did a 1-paragraph summary of potential resistance and how to address it. And you can see down here where I pretty much focus on the organizational structure as well as those leaders and or decision-making persons, making sure they assume within their scope of responsibility their role in addressing resistance and being sympathetic to those that are resisting whatever change you're putting in place, whether it's your staff, other leaders, and or the population in which you're serving. Then I did a very quick 1-paragraph conclusion to this implemented and contingency plan in which I did. And you can kind of like see that I'm really happy about this because I struggled. And all of the references I use, of course, yay, quoted myself. I'm learning that I can use a lot of things from graduate school as well as previous courses in my doctoral studies. So I'm really proud about what Dr. Cashman wrote. This is where the teacher, he goes in and they use a plagiarism technology application called Turnitin. So it highlights where you've plagiarized, whether it be intentional or unintentional. And then the professor pretty much writes some feedback for you. And hopefully every student takes it as very positive, constructive feedback, which I always do. But I was really excited to read this and just kind of wanted to share with you all, and especially some of my professors who are my Facebook friends, LinkedIn friends. Hopefully you can see it. What I was most proud about was where he wrote, you did an incredible job with the assignment as you advance through each of the main areas. The use of headers is a wonderful way to keep you on pace. You did this well. You only made the slightest error. If y'all remember, I pointed that out. I forgot to put the comma after I quoted a source within the text, if any, in your APA or grammar, as noted in your paper. You were sure to include a conclusion or summary. Thanks for your analysis, Dr. C. And this assignment was worth a total of 60 points. Your girl rocks. I got a full 60 points with this assignment. So, and again, you'll notice I did use headers. Writing has never been my strong suit. I struggled through undergrad, high school, and graduate school. So I kind of thought for my doctoral studies, to keep my thoughts from going left, right, south, eastbound field, I would use headers. So this is what he was speaking about, using the headers so that the reading audience knew when my thought was about to change. I made certain to also use transitional words to let them know my thought was moving from one directional context to the next. So this is my assignment, and I always do an introduction. Always introduce the assignment, and I try my best not to always quote from the textbook. And actually through these past several weeks, I did not quote much of anything from the textbook. Yes, I read them. I had to in order to understand the content of the assignments, but I utilized previous dissertations, a lot of research journals or case studies that have previously or recently been successfully completed. So just want to thank my mentors, Thomas Long, as well as Dr. Walker. I know I get on your nerves, but thank you. Anytime I email your question or ask, can we meet to go over some material? You also share material that you come up with. Dr. Hudgens didn't like that class because he always had us doing projects like this. Designing businesses, designing strategic plans. Who would have thought that now I would be utilizing all of this? I also want to thank Dr. Pearson. Oh my God,